What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so this is a video request that I got from the brother Brendan. He wanted me to talk about what I thought, just my opinion, not factual or anything, just my opinion. What if Dwight Howard never hurt his back in his prime? I think he hurt his back sometime around 2011 or 2012, and he had back surgery. And while he was still productive after this period of time, he was not the same dominant force, quite the same dominant force he had been before the back injury. Now, as far as his accolades, don't forget that he'd already had 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards at the age of 25, and that he was the best center in the NBA for at least half a decade at that time, despite what Shaquille O'Neal says. By the age of 26, which included 8 total seasons by that point, his accolades included 6 All-Star selections, 5 All-NBA first-team selections, 1 All-NBA third-team selection, 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, 4 real Defensive Player of the Year awards, not like some guy that's playing today who I suspect Victor Wembanyama was shading when he said that some of these guys don't work hard. 4 All-Defensive first-team selections, 1 All-Defensive second-team selection, All-Rookie first-team. 4 times he led the NBA in rebounding, the last time 2011-2012. Twice led league in blocks. Slam dunk champion in 2008. Unlike another guy, he stepped up to the plate as a star and brought excitement and flair and integrity and brought, that's what I'm looking for. He made the slam dunk contest stand out as an all-star event. The word is eluding me what I want to use, but during his 8 years with the Magic, he averaged 18.4 points, 13 rebounds, and 2.2 blocks. Before his injury in the 2011-2012 season, he had never played less than 78 games in a season and had played all 82 games 5 times. He only played 54 games in 2011-2012, which just may have prevented him from achieving his 4th straight Defensive Player of the Year award. After his back injury, he was never the same guy, and it cut his prime extremely short. In fact, we may argue that he never reached his prime because he was getting better at that time prior to injury. Despite all of this, he still averaged 16 points, 11.7 rebounds with the Rockets, and 16.6 points and 12.5 rebounds with the Charlotte Hornets. It was the last time that he was a full-time starter. Now, what if he never suffered his injury? Well, the first thing that I think is that he probably would have reached over 20,000 career points. Now, if you don't know, Dwight Howard recently retired. He finished his NBA career with 19,485 points. So he was just over 500 points shy of eclipsing 20,000 career points. I tend to think he would have reached that and more had he not gotten hurt and played in more games. I think it's a no-brainer. He probably would have eclipsed 15,000 rebounds, and I think he would have reached probably 2,500, 2,600 career blocks. So his numbers would have been better. His career averages would have looked a little bit better. And, I don't want to give the impression, though, that he would be like a top 10 all-time center or a top 25 or 30 all-time player, because there are some things about Dwight Howard that I recall that I didn't like. One of those things, if I remember correctly, is that he did seem a little bit, at least according to reports, Some people say he didn't work as hard as he should have as far as improving his offensive game, at least when he was a superstar. Okay. Um, I do remember some reports about him being a bit of a prima donna with Orlando, and he rubbed certain other stars the wrong way, including Kobe Bryant and Steve Nash when he was a member of the Lakers. I think he kind of rubbed James Harden the wrong way. No pun intended. um, I don't want to sit up here and say that I thought he would have won a championship, but individually, I think that he would have been a dominant player longer. I do think he probably would have won his 4th Defensive Player of the Year award. And he would have been a star in this NBA for a lot longer. I would say at least until the mid 2000s, 2010s, 2016, 2017. So individually, I think he would have accomplished more. But there's certain things that we got to keep in mind here. Although with the Lakers, he did started showing, even in a limited capacity, an ability to knock down open shot. I mean, it was the volume was very low, but if you look it up, he shot 46% from beyond the arc as a Laker, although the volume was very low. See if I can find the actual numbers. Give me 1 second now. As an Orlando Magic, he was 1 of 33 from downtown, which is just 3%. With the Lakers, well, I'll skip them. With the Houston Rockets, he was 3 for 15, which is 20%. With the Charlotte Hornets, just 1 of 7, 14%. The Hawks 0 for 2. The Sixers 5 for 20, 25%. He didn't attempt a 3 in the 9 games he played with the Wizards, but with the Lakers, he was 12 for 26. So that's 46%. Now, clearly, he wouldn't have shot 46% if he had to take, 2 or 3 a game. But that did show he was working on that part of his game. But he never would have been, some knockdown. I don't think, basically what I'm trying to say is I don't know. I don't really think he would have been, a sharpshooter from outside like, a Dirk Nowitzki or I'm trying to think of a center, a Bill Laimbeer or even Joker. Joker shoots about 33, 34%. I don't know if he'd ever gotten to that clip. Maybe he would have. Maybe. But one of the things that was kind of diminishing Dwight Howard's value as a player was that the game was changing. The traditional big man, low post presence, not really, a guy predicated on mid-range or outside shooting. Those centers were starting to be phased out. And then if you notice, some of the guys who were like that were no longer getting big minutes. I mean, look at Andre Drummond, right? Andre Drummond is only 29, 30 years old, but he doesn't get as much playing time because his style of play isn't as it's not as valued anymore, right? So Dwight Howard would have had to have developed some type of outside shot. He would have had to develop some type of three-point shot to be effective in today's NBA and to stay a starter because the other things that he brings to the table, the defense, shot blocking, rebounding, and as his career progressed, veteran leadership are pluses. But if you become an offensive liability, then you start hurting your team, especially in the playoffs. Especially in the playoffs when you play against an opponent every other night, and with the finite schematics that we have in today's NBA and the intricate defensive schemes in general, teams will be able to easily exploit that deficiency, the way the game is played today. We see that when teams play against Rudy Gobert. So, yeah, I do think that's something that Dwight Howard would have really had to work on hard. I mean, hard, like 2 summers in a row, hard, working on his three-point shot and refining it. I'm not saying just 2 summers in a row just stop, but like, I mean, really having to work on that shot for at least 2 years in a row. I mean, just constantly working on that part of your game. And then over the subsequent years, just refining it, because I don't see how he would have extended a prime career without that. It's I mean, there's no real big man that's playing today that is considered one of the top guys who at least isn't trying to improve that. And look, even with Giannis, he takes them. And at least Giannis is at 28 to 30%, which is still not really good. But Dwight Howard was, if you look at the percentages, 21% for his career. That's horrible. You can't shoot 21% from 3 and be a starting star center in the NBA today. You really can't be under 30%. So that's the one part of his game. And then also, I just I'm trying to avoid the other stuff, but there's just certain things that I remember about Dwight Howard I didn't like reading. I remember reading something to the extent that he thought that going to Lakers, because playing with Kobe Bryant, because he was playing with Steve Nash, it was going to be easy. And you can't have that type of mentality playing with Kobe Bryant. You can't. Don't get me wrong, man. When this guy was in his prime, he was extraordinarily gifted, to the point where we thought he was going to be a lot better than what he ultimately became. I remember arguing with Dwight Howard fans back in 2009, 2010, 8, 9, 10, 2011. These guys say he was going to be the greatest center of all time. I know this sounds like cap today, but they were literally saying this stuff. Some of these guys that's probably following me much now, the OGs, they know they were doing this. Oh, man, he's going to be better than Olajuwon. He'll be better than Shaq. He's stronger than Wilt Chamberlain. He's more athletic than Wilt. I remember all that stuff. But Dwight Howard in his prime, 40-inch vertical leap. The guy was extremely strong. This was a Dwight Howard that used to go on the 700 Club and talk about his faith. And I mean, this was a totally different Dwight Howard from the guy we know today. Don't got to go too far into it, you know what I mean? But yeah, what do you guys think? What do you think Dwight Howard's career would have been had he not hurt his back? I think his stats would be through the roof. Like I said, I think, matter of fact, I would say 22,000 career points. I'd say 15,500 to 16,000 rebounds, 2,700 blocks, more All-Star selections, 4 Defensive Player of the Year awards. And if he got under the tutelage of a Kobe Bryant, and Kobe was able to mold his personality and harden him like he did Pau Gasol. Because let's be honest, without Kobe Bryant, Pau may not have been a Hall of Famer. Just like without Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen may not have been a Hall of Famer. So that is something too to look at. I think playing with Kobe would have elevated if he was able to harden Dwight Howard, and if Dwight Howard was able to drop that prima donna, mentality, then maybe he would have had more championship success or team success. Because I do remember, I'm gonna say this last thing I want to say. I think one of the reasons why he left Houston was because he was concerned about his shot attempts. Because Houston was, at that time, going in a direction where they wanted to build a team around James Harden. Dwight Howard, excuse me, looked upon himself as a star, and he didn't want to sacrifice his game. You know, even though he did put up big numbers, he wanted even more shot attempts. So, yeah, those are things that held him back. But anyway, tell me what you guys think.